LeBron James is no stranger to success, nor is he to the public eye. He's arguably one of the greatest NBA players of this generation, second only to Michael Jordan himself. And from estimates of his wealth, he joined the GOAT in that ever-elusive club as an NBA billionaire. But what do you spend your money on when you're that rich? Well, just in case you were wondering, here are a few of the most expensive possessions of LeBron James. Now we have to take your hats off for my man LeBron. Sure, as far as his GOAT status in the NBA is concerned, he may be lagging behind MJ, as Jordan isn't a GOAT for nothing with 6 NBA titles, 2 more than LeBron, but where LeBron is lacking on the court, he makes up for off it, as he's the first player in the NBA to crack the $1 billion mark while still being active in the NBA. Remember that Jordan only hit the $1 billion mark after his retirement, but it's all good. He's worth $2 billion right now, so I don't think he's too caught up about that one. He has to date earned $330 million in plain salary and another $700 million from off-the-court endorsements. And what on earth does one man possibly do with so much money? Well, that's why I'm here, because I'll tell you exactly what. He bought himself a brand new Hummer H7, that's what. Yeah, a famous celebrity actually bought a car that's basically the villain of climate change, but no one will blame LeBron. He has been heating up the court since his career really kicked off in 2003. And since then, he's been burning holes in the court ever since. So no one can fault LeBron for treating himself to the latest Hummer. Just don't tell Greta Thunberg about it. No, seriously. No one wants to see the Take-Two of her crying act.
How dare you!
With the standard price for one of these babies starting at $103,000, you know it's a toy that only the rich can play with. And play with it LeBron does, as he's been spotted multiple times taking his baby for a spin. And with a top speed of 177 kilometers per hour and 393 bhp of horsepower, could there be a better companion for one of the fastest, most versatile ballers on the court? If you think that expensive, wait till you learn about how much LeBron spends on his body. Yeah, you heard me right. When you're that rich and that much of an athlete, maintaining your physique can cost you millions. Yes, millions on just your body. How many millions, you ask? Well, just because LeBron is LeBron, if you're going to spend anything on your personal fitness, it just has to be over $1 million. And you thought your $200 gym membership was flexing. And before you start thinking that this massive fortune all goes to his ever-growing body of ink, which still costs more than your average net worth, considering LeBron's entire body is covered in tattoos. And did I mention that his tattoo artist to the stars, Keith Bang Bang McCurdy, charges a nifty $350 an hour for a tat? And since LeBron is full of them, you can only imagine how much that would have cost him. And your parents said there's no money to be made in art. But no, the $1.5 million that LeBron has spent on his body wasn't on his tats, although I'm sure that they must have cost him well over $100,000. And before you quit your job to become a tattoo artist, remember that it takes a whole lot of talent and celebrity endorsements to get to that level of artistry. That $1.5 million come from his personal training with Navy SEAL David Alexander, a world-class gym facility in his home. And did I mention the cryo chamber and hyperbolic chamber in his gym too? Because if you're going to be as much of a beast on the court as LeBron is at 36, which is just 2 years younger than Michael Jordan when he came out of retirement for a brief stint with the Washington Wizards in 2001, you have to train like you're the main character in a Marvel movie. Who am I kidding? Captain America can spend no $1.5 million on a cryo chamber. Get your facts straight. But let's be honest here, that's some money well spent if you consider the fact that even MJ around James' age began to show signs of lagging. Although let's not forget that the original GOAT redeemed himself just 2 days after the worst game in his career for an explosive 51-point win against the Charlotte Hornets on December 29, 2001. Talk about going out with a bang. LeBron, on the other hand, has no plans for retirement yet, and still sees many games ahead of him in the NBA. And judging from his performance this past season, he might just be speaking the truth, if he doesn't get a herniated disc while at it. What? Someone had to say it. And what's more is that LeBron revealed another tactic he uses to stay so rejuvenated on the court despite his experience in years. He clicked the like and subscribe button, and look where he is now. You want to be like LeBron, don't you? So what are you waiting for? Get to clicking. If you thought $1.5 million in personal care is excessive, just wait till you hear of this next item that LeBron owns. Or technically owns if we're being accurate, since it's the $300,000 engagement ring that he bought for his then-fiancée, Savannah Brinson. Just don't let Savannah hear you calling it LeBron's possession, because if there's one way to ensure the love of your life won't say no to your marriage advances, it's getting her a $300,000 ring. As the story goes, LeBron decided to propose to his high school sweetheart on New Year's Eve right after the big countdown to catch his beau off guard. Not that the ring itself isn't enough to send anyone into anaphylactic shock. I mean, have you seen that 7-carat pear-shaped beauty? I'm just saying. And because a beauty that grand is enough of a temptation to get even LeBron to reconsider using it in a marriage proposal and just keeping it to himself, he gave it to teammate and longtime friend D-Wade for safekeeping until the moment was ready for him to give the ring to Savannah himself. Not that D-Wade didn't have the thoughts of disappearing off the face of the earth and having an early retirement with that ring himself. And to make a long story short, LeBron finally proposed to the love of his wife with the new love of his life after the final countdown into a new year. Not that anyone didn't know what the outcome would be given the price tag of the ring. What? Even love is made easier with money. Speaking of expensive jewelry, you know LeBron has some killer eyes and an eye for the finer things in life. If you're willing to splurge $300,000 on an engagement ring, not that his contracts, personality, weren't an already big enough sell in marriage. How much exactly does the NBA next living goat and billionaire spend on ice? As much as you think a billionaire would spend on jewelry, millions of course. This is LeBron after all. These timepieces consist of, amongst others, an AP Royal Oak offshore chronograph aptly named after its designer, LeBron James himself. And what would a watch by LeBron James look like? What you'd expect it to, of course. From an 18-karat pink gold case, diamond set push piece, and gray alligator strap. Wait, what? You get gray alligators? I guess everything exists when you're a billionaire. Did I mention that there's only 600 of these babies in existence? So good luck getting your hands on one. Not that you could afford it anyways, with just a single watch retailing for $568,000. Oh, and then there's the Rolex Day-Date too, because a $500,000 watch just doesn't cut it when you're worth more than a small island nation. And what exactly makes a Rolex Day-Date 2 a Rolex Day-Date 2? A lot of gold, exotic animal hides, and price tags well beyond anything you can dream of at $320,000. Wait, just wait, we're barely scratching the surface of LeBron's watch collection. I know, right? We haven't told you about his Richard Mille RM1103. At this point, LeBron can buy a couple of teams in the NBA with his watch collection. You know it's true. Hell, give LeBron some time and he'll be able to buy the Memphis Grizzlies and still have some change left over. And to be honest, for a titanium-based watch with a fancy handcrafted dial, it sure does cost a lot. $2.89 million lot. But when you get rich as LeBron, as you can afford to splurge on some overpriced namesakes. Did we mention that LeBron wore it on his way to a Lakers game, paired with a Yankees cap? The nerve in Dodgerland of all places. Speaking of watches that could pay for the college tuition of an entire neighborhood block, we have a Patek Philippe 6102R Celestial. At this point, you can already tell that it's expensive from the fancy name alone. How expensive? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. That's how expensive. Only kidding. This baby comes in at a hefty $2.16 million. It is apparently modeled after the night sky in Geneva, with the movement of the heavenly bodies accurately adorned on its rotating chart. Because even something as mundane as the night sky can make your heart race, it would seem, especially when it costs more than your house. Proving once and for all that even time costs money when you're rich. A lot of money. And you just know that there are some super elite houses on the list when your watch collection is estimated to be well over $10 million. How much, you ask? Well, first off, there's his former hideaway that's located in Coconut Grove in Miami, Florida. Not that you'd know anything about that, just being honest here. This 15,000 square foot mansion is worth well over $9 million and has 6 bedrooms, 8.5 baths, 3 fountains, and then there's a space for 2 60-foot yachts to dock. You know, for when you feel like sailing to the Caribbean to fish. The entire complex is surrounded by trees and sprawling gardens, and the security is very tight, in case you had some exotic thoughts cross your mind. And then there's his $23 million Brentwood, California castle. I mean mansion, which is nice by itself, but add to that the fact that he's neighbors with Jim Carrey and John Travolta, and you know you've officially made it in life. As long as they don't try to reenact the roles from Ace Ventura and Gotti, that is. And then there's his $36.7 million mansion in Beverly Hills that once belonged to soap opera icons Bill and Lee Phillip. That consists of 4 compounds that cover an area of over 10,000 square feet, screening rooms, vaulted ceilings, and a majestic view of the Los Angeles landscape. Because who needs soapies when your life is one? Minus all the drama, of course. And these are just some of the sprawling empire of mansions that LeBron has tucked away to get away to on his off seasons, almost all of which cost well over $20 million apiece. Those are just the perks of being one of the NBA's greatest, I guess. And a billionaire, there's that too. Hey, are you still there? You thought finding out just how rich LeBron is and how broke you are was fun? Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. Click on this video right here and satisfy your NBA cravings with NBA players doing vlogs.